Yeah, so we'd like to understand the logic by which different forms of government develop. Today it's not clear where we headed. Neoliberalism is coming to an end. Democracy is in danger. There's a danger that fascism might return. So we'd like to understand the way society is developing, why one or another form of government forms in a certain period in time. How does it all work? And what's the relationship between the individual and society in the different regimes and the forms of government that we find ourselves in? Look, before we start talking about it, please allow me to calibrate things, otherwise we won't understand each other. What does liberalism or neoliberalism mean? What is it? At least it was supposed to be a state of equality, freedom, pluralism, so that's coming to an end? Yes, today we understand that it's not working. Did it ever work? No. But it brought us, no, not what it brought us. There was something that brought us to something that never was. Now, what is democracy? The rule of the people. Was it ever so that you're saying that it came to an end? No. There is the disillusionment from this thing called democracy. What do you mean by disillusionment? Today there is a study by Harvard that shows that people understand more and more that democracy doesn't really give them rights. Don't call it democracy. Don't say that it's a desire, wanted government. A neoliberalism. Where did you see liberalism there? Where did you see a good relationship there? A good and nice attitude? Is it good and nice if we have the elites that are taking all the cream and down below people are starving to death? Where's the democracy and neoliberalism? What are you talking about? What are these lies? What's the alternative? The alternative is, first of all, let's call it as it is. Let's use the right words. Then we'll know where we were and where we headed. But it was neither this nor that. So how would you call it? All of your philosophers and all of your universities and all the politicians, they're all playing with lies. They're all acting out lies limitlessly. They give the worst possible things, the stinkiest things, the most beautiful names, and by that they confuse people. They themselves, they're not confused. I know them. They live a good life. For them, democracy is for everyone to serve them. I'll just tell them exactly how to do it, and if I can, to move my finger as little as possible, but for everyone to run accordingly. That's called democracy. And liberalism, it means that what I say, everyone accepts, understands, and keeps. That's called liberalism. Yeah, but it's the least of two evils. Who told you that? Look the slogans you're using. What least of two evils? Where do you see anything worse than that? What kind of government can be better than what we know? I don't know a form of government that can be worse than that, because every form of government was more real, more true. When I was a master and you were my slave, not necessarily a slave, you worked for me. So it was clear to you who you are, and it was clear to me who I am, and I know that I have to take care of you because you work for me. Or you're my property, and it was clear to you and to me the relationship between us. You'd like to return to this status? No, but it was the truth. That was the truth. But wait a second. Would you agree, you personally, would you agree to be someone's property? I'm someone's property today as well. Yeah, but it's more abstract. So what do I have as a result? No, you're depicting as if the form of government that we have today is the worst possible government we ever had. It's a result of centuries of human development. We didn't get here by chance. Probably previous things were worse. This is also a question. Why were the previous states worse and not better? If they were better, we'd probably remain there. Wait a second, how could it be that our ego is constantly growing and we're building something better? This assumption I don't understand. Didn't we advance as a humanity? Advance towards what? We advance towards becoming worse towards each other. So today, I can use my ego with much greater cruelty than before. And don't think that in the past people treated each other more barbarically than today. Suppose in fascist regimes, the government made people disappear, killed people, it was legit. It also happened while they were crying that they're all liberals. Where do you see fascists? I lived in Russia when there was a fascist regime. Did anyone say it was a fascist regime? It's socialism, communism, in favor of the people, and I see the same here today. Good comparison. What's better? As a person who grew up in communism and today is living in a Western country, what regime would you prefer, form of government? Undoubtedly, Western. Good. So we're advancing because previously you described it as the worst possible thing. No, it's not advancing because we've built something, but our ego that advanced forced us to change our social formation. Like in the past, there were slaves, and afterwards, these slaves were exchanged for workers. Why? Because it's not worthwhile having a slave. Better give him freedom. He'll do better work, that he has a family, that he has what to work for. He'll be more productive. The moment we've reached a state where it's preferable to give a slave a profession and for him to work for money, it's no longer worthwhile for me to keep him as a slave. You're talking from the point of view of the masters. I'm not asking about that. I'm asking you as a citizen who lived under the communist regime and today is living under the Western regime. Where is it better to live? As a citizen, from your experience, you said in the Western society, right? I'm stating my personal opinion. If you're talking on behalf of the people, yeah, the individual. No, as an individual, it's better to live in a regime which is a regime because everyone knows their place, everyone knows that they'll get something, they won't starve to death. Today in Russia, there are people that are completely under the poverty line. Before that, there was no such thing. But the government has to give something to everyone. If I have no workplace, then I go to the municipality. There's a department that makes sure that I will have a place to work. I have no accommodation. They find accommodation for me. Okay, suppose today I were to conduct a survey among those that lived in the former USSR in the communist times and living in Israel as a Western country and so on and so forth, or in the US. I don't think that any of them would like to go back there, but we're not talking about that. What I want to do is look forward. Tal started with saying that today democracy is in danger. Neoliberalism is maybe reaching some kind of an end. What's awaiting us? What's up ahead? Not whether the regime or the form of government we're experiencing today is perfect. Of course it's not. It's not democracy nor liberalism. This is what you said to begin with, that it's not really democracy or liberalism. So first of all, let's throw the lies away. Okay, so what is real democracy or real liberalism? First of all, are these preferable things and what are they if so? I don't know what these things are. I don't see these things. These are all inventions of philosophers, professors, and universities that invented them in order to confuse the people, ordered by the elites that are governing the country. The next form of government, if today's form of government isn't perfect, probably according to human dialectics, we'll come to something else. If you're talking according to what's happening in nature, let's talk about that. If you're talking about what humanity is inventing, it's just talk. We won't come to anything. What I just said, I can say the very opposite now. So, this isn't the way to discuss things, to come to some kind of a conclusion. If we clear all the lies and the forms that we got, what would we see that's going on? You said modern slaves. I mean, what's the relationship in our society today? I see in our society today that there are a third unemployed, and soon it's going to be two-thirds. A third or more, half, are getting antidepressants. and the rest are taking drugs. No one's content with themselves. Families are falling apart, disappearing. Children don't know what to do with themselves, about themselves, with their future. I see a society which is on a crossroads. That something that in the past somehow existed, today it's ceasing to exist. And what is this thing that existed? Certain relations that you said that there's someone who controls and there's someone who's a slave. In a country, there were different kinds of adherence between different smaller social formations that comprise the general society. Today it no longer exists. In the past it was religion. Before that, suppose these were families, extended families and so on. Afterwards, religion, nationality, borders, enemy that's threatening you and so on. Today we're in a state where everyone chooses wherever he feels like living, in whatever way he chooses, in whichever environment he thinks is better for him. And therefore, we don't have the same conditions as before. We are on a crossroads. It sounds like freedom. It sounds like a good thing. I have freedom. I can choose. I can do whatever I feel like. It's something preferable. And what do I have as a result? Do I get security as a result? Am I really free? Do I really have the ability to develop myself, my children, my family in the right direction? So today we see, let's not lie to ourselves. Why are you immediately escaping to different slogans? Yeah, but it's freedom. We're in a world where a person has no idea what he's doing, and when I really want to give something to my children, I have nothing really to give them. I don't. Because from one day to the next, the job market is coming to an end. The profession that people will get in the university, who knows how much will it help a person? I don't know how will I get along with my family, with my wife. How long can we stand each other? I'm not talking personally about myself, but I'm talking about a family in general according to the growing ego. So the current state, because we feel the uncertainty and how problematic it is, it's pushing us towards fascism, nationalism, where you have order. No, we can't approach that either. Why not? This is what's happening today in the world. Yeah, but as if a kind of a solution. Obviously, we don't want it. It doesn't matter that we want it or not. Miss, we're talking about the laws of creation, that whether we like it or not, are working on us. And that won't happen because if a fascist regime will come and will bring us to a world war, it's also something temporary because it can't keep a person's ego that wants to be limitless, having no boundaries. So what is that preferable thing? Because you said that freedom isn't good, but we want freedom. What freedom? Are we in a framework? Yes. Are we being influenced? Yes. The media are telling us that we're free. Are we free or are we under their control? We're under their control. We feel that we're free. We're talking about freedom because this is what we're taught. It's exactly like looking at North Korea or China or some other place, or like I remember it in Russia, where everyone voted, yes, we are free. We live the best possible life. It's great that we're living here in Soviet Russia. So we're in the same state. We're being brainwashed the very same way, only we're being brainwashed in such a hidden and sophisticated way that we think that it's freedom. I can go anywhere I want, and what do I have as a result? In the past, I couldn't. And so what enslaves us are maybe other things. It's the consumption, the media. Of course, society enslaves me and is constantly forcing me to be one way or another. So what is freedom? What is freedom and the right kind of relationship that has to exist between the individual and society? The right kind of relationship between the individual and everyone else, it has to be like in a corrected family, where I care for everyone and everyone cares for me. For this, we need national education.